Okay, so depending on where I left off last, here is the cab the way that it looks now. That's what it used to look like. So basically I just made a day cab out of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and shorten the frame. So I want to test fit the cab on there. I want to see about where the frame has to be, and the little nubs have to be cut off the sides. And so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut those nubs off. And the reason why those have to be cut off is because the cab has been shortened, and the nubs would hit the tires right here behind the cab. So I had to take those off. I then want to cut right behind where the axles mount to on the little sprues. So I'm going to cut right there. Go ahead and make a mark. Use my dikes. Leave a little bit of excess so I can file it, get it nice and straight, so when I glue it back together the truck's frame is not crooked. Fit it into the cab. Oh, that's perfect. That's right behind where it needs to go. So I basically need to cut off all of this right here, if you can see it, down to this mark. So all of this right here has to come off. So I'll go ahead and cut that off. Sand it. And what I'll do is I'll take a piece of masking tape and I'll temporarily tape it to see if the length is good. Just put a piece of tape on there. My daughter's cat's trying to get back in this room to hang out with me. Okay. I want to make it go back just a slight bit further. So I'll have to cut it a little bit more. We cut the front piece instead of the back piece. Give a little bit of a sanding to straighten it. And I'll try the tape piece to tape it back together. And I'll try it again. And it fits in the little groove perfectly, with room to spare. It's bent on the front because the tape, because the tape isn't holding it, securely. It was like this. So I'll be right back. I'll grab the cab because it fell, and we'll continue modifying the frame. Okay, so I sanded a little bit more, cleaned it up. That front piece is ready for re-gluing, so I'm going to work on the back piece. Now, the frame is too wide on these trucks. The frame is actually what makes the fuel tanks stick out on either side too far. And that just looks really dumb. They're actually supposed to be a little more flush mounted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just cut the frame and you know, make it more narrow in between the axles back here and where the back of the cab would go. And by doing that, I'm also going to cut off the fender wells, because most American trucks don't have fender wells. Not all of them, but most of them don't. That's really easy to do. Just shave them off. You can also cut them off with your dikes if you have a pair, like these. I'll do one side with the dikes to show you. Real easy. Just cut it off. And the other side, cut off with the X-Acto knife. You can see it slicing right through there. And just clean it up a little bit. Make sure there's no excess plastic on the side. File down the side. File down the side on the other side. And now I'm going to carve out some of the frame to help with the fuel tanks. And I'm probably not going to mount the fuel tanks right back where they went. This also is going to become a single axle, so I'm actually going to shave off the sprues for the axle wheels, or axles where the wheels would line up. So I'm going to shave those off now. And the wheels that I'm planning on reusing for this kit are they don't actually have an axle. I just cut the back of the frame off. It's a little too long, so I just cut the back off right behind the hitch. And I want to take my X-Acto knife and make like a downward angle there, like the rail trucks have. Okay, so I have the frame modified, or I was going to cut it out. Go ahead and glue these two pieces together where I cut it in half. Now that looks straight. Hopefully it glues straight. And I will also modify the bumper, the front bumper. As you can see, it's really small, but every little thing you do to change these trucks will help the end result, because it'll just look so cool. I don't own the rights to this photo, but I'll go ahead and post a photo real quick of what this truck is going to look like. It's going to be a Consolidated Freightways truck. So I'll go ahead and post that picture right now. Okay, as you can see, I actually showed two photos, one of them being an International, the other one being a Freightliner, and they both had the same type of bumper, where it was shorter and straight across without the curved ends. You can see on One side of the bumper I cut the curved section off, the other side still has the curved section. I'm going to cut the curved sections off. And then there's like a two-piece to this bumper. You can see there's a bottom piece with a line through it with two square pieces. And then right underneath my finger there's another section of bumper. I actually want to keep only one of those because that's the way it looks in the photo. When you put the grill work back in the truck, you can see that the bumper is going to look rather different. I may just keep the two pieces on there because it's so small, but that's the way it's going to look. So just something simple like that is going to change it quite a bit. Plus I'm going to paint the bumper red, leave the grill work silver, and it'll make a huge difference. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the frame to dry, I'll go ahead and cut the exhaust stacks. I want to cut the left side stack off, which would be the driver's side stack. We'll get back. Okay, sorry about that, had an interruption. So the stack, I'm going to cut the two little sprues off the bottom of that little bracket there because I had to get rid of the two little mounting holes on the frame, but that's not a problem. So I got rid of the two little sprues. I'm going to glue this on flat on the bottom of the actual frame. I'm going to fit the cab in there onto the frame. You can see it's a lot shorter now. Blow on it a little bit. And there you go. A homemade air down. It's not that hard. Okay, so when we last left off, I was gluing the fuel tanks to the frame. Yeah, it appears that they're solidly on the frame. Frame does seem a little bowed a little bit, like in this direction, but it's not too bad. You can see where I narrowed the frame and cut it out. You can see where I cut the back off and shortened it, and then angled it down a little bit in the back. I'll probably do some more angling. I then shortened the frame right here into the cab. You can see there's a little, I'll use, guess I'll use this to point. There's a little channel right here that the knife is in, right in front of the fuel tanks. That channel is where the back of the cab sits, inside there. So if I did all my measuring correct, the cab should sit in that little channel and still touch the front. And it does. Wow, well, that fits pretty good actually. So yeah, pretty neat. Let's see, next will be paint. No, I think I'll add a couple of detail parts to it and then paint it. I got to paint the frame and the tanks. The tanks need to go back silver, but I can easily repaint the tanks. I'm going to paint the whole frame, all this thing right here, red. So when you come back, this will all be red. And then we'll talk about what we're going to put detail-wise on the cab. So we'll be right back. Okay, so through the magic of the camera, the frame is painted. It's not dry yet, but it is painted. Gonna go ahead and set that aside and work on the body. What I was thinking on the body, on the Athearn Freightliners, you see these little what look like grab irons right here. When those are painted silver, those are really neat to look at. This N-Scale model, of course, doesn't have it. So I'm going to take little tiny pieces of metal. I have some really thin wire here. I'm not sure of the size of it. It's piano wire. I got it at Hobby Lobby. Go ahead and move this because it's my French bread. I have the mirrors that go on. I purchased these through Showcase Miniatures on eBay. If you are an N-Scaler and you don't know about Showcase Miniatures, you better find out, because they have all kinds of really neat stuff. They even have whole truck kits with semi-trucks. All different eras, modern era, older. And they make these photo etched mirrors out of very, very thin metal. And they look great when they're on the rigs.